Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. For all you focused learners out there, today we're mapping out a truly fascinating century of wealth creation philosophy. We're going to take a structured, analytical look at how the concepts of attracting money have evolved. We're going from a foundational text written way back over 100 years ago, all the way to a modern, highly systematic digital guide from 2026.
It all really picks off with this one central, captivating question: can you actually think your way to wealth? I mean, is it really possible that our internal mental state directly dictates our external financial reality? It's a mystery that has completely entranced millions of people. But what does this actually mean for your own ambitions? Well, to understand how this works today, we kind of have to look at where it all started.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are looking at the pioneering book published in 1910, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. This text is practically the grandfather of the modern wealth manifestation movement. It laid down a highly specific framework arguing that getting rich is an exact science, almost like algebra or arithmetic.
Section 1. The Right to be Rich. Wattles kicks off his whole framework with this exact, uncompromising premise, and honestly, this was quite bold for 1910. He argues that regardless of how society might praise poverty or modesty, a person's full potential is fundamentally restricted without money. In his view, human development, whether we're talking about talent, intellect, or soul, requires the use of material things, and you simply cannot access those things without the financial means to acquire them.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how Wattles systematically breaks down human existence into three distinct motives: the body, the mind, and the soul. According to the 1910 text, none of these is holier than the other. The body obviously needs physical comfort, the mind requires intellectual stimulation, things like books and travel, and the soul requires love, which Wattles argues finds its absolute most natural expression in giving, something you really can't fully do if you're impoverished. So money is positioned here as the essential tool for a complete life.
Section 2. The Formless Substance.
So how exactly do we acquire this wealth? Well, it starts with this almost poetic statement. The text describes a universe that isn't just dead matter, but is actually deeply intelligent. Wattles paints a picture of an environment completely filled with a limitless, invisible material that reacts directly to human thought.
So, the absolutely crucial point in Wattles' framework is that this formless substance is raw, thinking material. The methodology states that when a human mind holds a clear, unwavering thought of a form, say a specific amount of wealth or a new house, it impresses that thought upon this substance, which then sets the forces of the universe in motion to physically create it. Basically, thought is the only power capable of producing tangible riches from this invisible supply.
Section 3. Modern Manifestation and Brainwaves.
Now, let's fast forward over a century to 2026. Notice how the concept has totally evolved. Where the 1910 text relied on the abstract metaphysical idea of impressing thoughts upon a universal formless substance, the 2026 text grounds the exact same concept in neurology. Today, the focus is shifted inward. It's all about reprogramming the subconscious mind, specifically targeting what's known as the theta brainwave state.
According to the 2026 source, the golden window for manifestation happens in the 15 to 20 minutes right before you fall asleep. Think about it. Your brain shifts out of the active beta waves, where your conscious mind is just filtering and judging everything. It moves through relaxing alpha waves, ideally without doom scrolling on your phone, right? And finally enters theta waves. In this data state, your subconscious is incredibly receptive. It accepts suggestions without any critical filtering, making it, as the text calls it, the true manifestation sweet spot.
Section 4. The Overnight Bedtime Ritual.
And this brilliantly illustrates how modern guides gamify this window into a strict 5-step methodology that takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Since your subconscious doesn't sleep, you put it to work. First up, you gotta clear your energy, just breathing to release the day's stress and any anxiety about bills. Second, you physically write down a specific money intention, choosing a dollar amount you actually believe is possible. Third, you perform the visualization. Fourth, you whisper a specific affirmation 3 times. And finally, step 5, you simply let yourself fall asleep holding on to that feeling of abundance.
Let's look a little closer at step 3, because the 2026 text heavily emphasizes that the brain literally cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. You aren't supposed to visualize wanting money. No, you must visualize having it. You need to see your phone screen light up with the bank notification, feel the physical relief in your chest, hear yourself telling a friend you won't believe what just happened.
It requires deep sensory storytelling to actually trick the subconscious into accepting it as reality.
Let's zoom out and see how this builds, because this overnight method fits into a much wider ecosystem of practices. The modern source actually compares the overnight method to other popular techniques. The overnight method is praised for fast results, and it's great for beginners, though you do have to truly believe in the amount you're asking for. Compare that to the famous 3-6-9 method, which is based on Nikola Tesla's sacred numbers. That one is better for long-term abundance, but takes about 21 to 45 days. Or scripting, which is highly specific, but honestly pretty time-intensive. Then there's gratitude journaling, which shifts your mindset, but doesn't target specific dollar amounts. So the framework here is highly systematic, offering totally different tools for different goals.
But what goes wrong? The 2026 text is super quick to point out the roadblocks, and we're going to rapid-fire through these. Falling asleep in worry? That completely overrides the programming. Choosing unbelievable amounts creates massive mental resistance. Checking your bank account obsessively the very next morning signals desperation and distrust. Lacking consistency, like doing it just once instead of 7 consecutive nights, kills your momentum. Skipping the emotion makes the visualization totally ineffective. And finally, using negative framing, like thinking, "I don't want to be broke," only forces your subconscious to focus on being broke. You absolutely have to frame it positively. In short, your subconscious takes everything literally, so you've got to protect that mental state.
Section 5. Taking inspired action.
We've talked a lot about programming the mind, but what about actually doing something? Well, here is where a century of philosophy perfectly aligns. Neither text supports simply sitting around and waiting for money to magically fall from the sky. Back in 1910, Wattles explicitly stated that creative energy works through existing channels of trade and established lines of growth. Fast forward to 2026, and the modern guide says you must act on intuitive nudges. If you feel pulled to reach out to someone, apply for a gig, or follow up on a business idea, you just have to do it. The manifestation merely delivers the opportunity. You are the one who has to step up and take the action. Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought. As we look across over 100 years of these teachings, from the formless substance of 1910 to the theta brainwaves of 2026, is wealth actually created by programming the mind? Or is the true magic found in the confident, inspired action that a person takes once they truly believe that wealth is already theirs? It is such a fascinating intersection of psychology, belief, and effort. Thank you so much for joining me on this Explainer Focused Learners. Keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.